Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? It is Stormybman, and I am back. Yes, I am back for this here to talk a little bit more about boxing. With a huge surprise, you know. So, before we get started out here, I want to say shout out to the LDBC. I'm sure the boxing community has been abuzz this evening. Uh, Thought I had my stuff ready to go, but I had to make some tweaks before I went on live. So that's why I'm a few minutes late. But I had intended for about 10 after the hour. I'm only about 10 minutes late off of that time. So sorry to keep people waiting that were waiting to hear what I may have to say on this evening's events. But I hope that everybody enjoyed the fights this evening. I had a good chop it up with the brothers on Tyrone Smith's channel and Laws D's channel today, and we just kind of kept it going on through the evening, which was nice. And so I had a chance to enjoy the events in the company of some brothers from the community, which was kind of sweet, you know. I want to recognize those who have fallen into the chat thus far. We got Brooklyn Child Boxing says salute OG, salute to you, bro. Mahari Nation Sports Podcast says salute Stormy B Man, salute to you, Mahari. I see you over there getting that basketball thing going, man. Might make me want to come back and watch my Bulls again. But I stepped away from the Bulls for a while now, and I have to say I don't miss it. I was in the store one day and they had the game on the TV. Whole bunch of faces I didn't even recognize. I say, I know I'm old now. I don't even know who the players are on the team. But they have been so poor over the past few seasons. I just checked out, man. I can't take the losing, man. Can't take the losing. It's one thing to just lose, but it's another thing that when you lose and you ain't trying to improve and you just stay stagnant, you know, putting the same product out on the field, on the court every night. And I said field because I'm thinking about the Bears too. They fall into that category. I mean, I'm a Chicago sports fan, but I don't have no pride for them when they out there looking so shameful, man. It's just, you know, and that's not fair weather. It's just like they bad and they need to improve. And it's like the people that own the teams are just content with your money, your revenue that you bringing in to them. It's like because a couple of them families, that's their income. You know, it's like they're not trying to be the best in the league. They're just trying to marginalize, make some money, don't have to pay the athletes too much. You know, that's why they don't want no real stars here right now, because they don't want to pay nobody. So why should we tune into that mess? The Blackhawks did that for years till that dude finally died and the team got taken over by somebody else. And as soon as he made some changes, they started winning championships with the Blackhawks. And the Blackhawks hadn't won no championship probably since the league began. So Jay Dixon is out there. He says, salute Stormy B Man. Derek Bailey is out there. He says, salute Stormy B Man. And you guys are saluting each other. Trap House Boxing is in the house. He says, what's up, Sensei? What's going on with you, Trap, man? What movie did you check out today, bro? I know you said you was going to check out some movies. So Gigi is out there. He says, what's good, Stormy B Man? Salute. And Trap is saying salute to the chat. And Aladdin Saddam is out there, says, what's going on, family? What's going on with you, Aladdin? I see you've been tuning in with Stormy B Man lately. That's good to see you, man. I know you be out there on some of the veteran channels, but it's nice to see you come here and nice to see you call me family. So that's warms the storm's heart, man. But I'm still a storm, so watch out, huh? So, yeah, man. So let's get on into it, man. Let's just talk about it right off the bat, huh? Julian J. Rock Williams and this young man, Rosario, you know, we're going to learn his name because he's the champ now. you know, in a stunning upset with Julian's homecoming, you know, in Philadelphia. You know, he came home to have a title defense. And if I'm not mistaken, this wasn't even a mandatory title defense. It was voluntary. So he wanted to kind of give back to his home base of fans and everything and put on a promotion. And it went south on them, family. It went south on them really fast, where we saw that Rosario KO'd J-Rock in the 5th round. Yes, sir. I mean, and let me say this. Jason was good. You know, he was better than good, but he was formidable for J-Rock because he presented a set of problems that were not anticipated, I believe, primarily because of, you know, maybe J-Rock's people, they didn't have this young man tapped to be as strong as he was. And that made all the difference in the world, where in the 2nd round, I believe it was, he opened up a cut, which was an old cut, old scar tissue around J-Rock's eyes. And even as the 1st round was coming to its close, as I was telling the brothers that we were all checking the fight out together, I said, I think this is going to be a rough night for J-Rock, because I could tell that although they both came out focused, hands up, which I always love to see that, they were competing. But I noticed that when J-Rock got mid-range, Jason's physical strength was a little more than what he had anticipated. And it was totally different from like when he fought Jarrett Hurd, because Jarrett Hurd is limited offensively. This young man was punching within range, and he was giving as good as he got. And J-Rock was trying to set the tone and set the pace, but Jason Rosario was there to meet the said pace and set his own. So he was basically working to impose his will on Williams. So we could see this early on, and it was like unfolding before your eyes. One of the things that I also noted was that his jab was not as effective as it needed to be after the 1st round. And it was questioned to me like, well, you know, Rosario has his hands up good, so because I was suggesting jabbing to the chest, and it was like his hands are up pretty good, so what about, you know, what do you do in the event of that? And I was like, you have to shoot it, feint it at the chest, and hit the pit of the stomach. But you also don't stand there for receipts. You have to work in and out. You have to give angles. And for some reason, early in the 2nd round, it looked like J-Rock wanted to kind of go in and give his pound of flesh. And I don't think that was a smart strategy early on. You have to stay so disciplined in boxing, because once you make a mistake and a fighter is able to capitalize on it, it can end up going south on you very fast. I remember having a discussion this weekend talking about the fight between Riddick Bowe and Andrew Galata. And the conversation was centered around Bowe and Galata and Lennox Lewis and Galata, how the 2 different results. And I had remarked that when Bowe fought Galata, they fought twice. Bowe went out there kind of picking and probing, trying to, box Galata. And he made Galata feel like he belonged in the ring with him. And because Galata had talent, he had skills. He had fast hands. He had heavyweight punching power. He threw punches in combinations. He had a decent jab. When Bo came out there kind of lethargic and everything, and Galata was ready to go because he was facing Riddick Bowe, you know, former two-time world champion and everything. Once Galata got comfortable and Bo realized, oh, this dude trying to whoop me, the fight changed immediately because Galata felt like he belonged, and he felt like, oh, you know, I can compete with this guy. My hand speed is as good as his, if not better. I could hit him, you know. And it became a tough night for Bo, and that it easily went south. On the other hand, when Lennox Lewis faced Galata, I also remarked that Emmanuel Stewart had Lennox at a place where he sent him out there to perform in a way that he doesn't normally perform. Emmanuel sent Lewis out there to jump on Galata right away, to establish himself as the king, the warrior, everything right out the gate. And Galata wasn't expecting that. I think Galata was expecting the same thing that Bo did. Come out, you know, start looking at each other and flick a jab here and there and see, let's, you know, warm it up. No. Lennox went across that ring like Mike Tyson and jumped on Galata immediately, had him concussed and stunned. He went down several times, 3 knockdowns, it was over. First round knockout. That's the only time Lennox Lewis ever went after an opponent like that, because Galata was just that dangerous. If you go out there and try to match jabs with him and hand speed and stuff like that, and you let him get into a rhythm, you were going to have a hard night. So I'll use that example for what I'm trying to say here with J-Rock and this guy, Jason Rosario. Because Rosario came out intensely, you know, and so did J-Rock. And they both were looking at each other. But it was like, we didn't know that Jason was as strong as he was. And he was very strong at mid-range, where he could hit you close, still have a little bit of distance, not on the total inside, but at mid-range. And his punches were effective, and he threw them in multiples. And J-Rock didn't have an answer because the punches were effective and they were hard. They were solid shots. So he found himself almost at an immediate disadvantage from that standpoint. And instead of electing to step out and not fight that guy's fight, he went right back into the fray and started trying to get in close and work the inside. And I understand that because he needed to get on the inside to work the body. But you have to work the body tactically. You have to box your way through that. And I was saying that he would need to work his body to take some of that strength away that I could recognize right off the bat. And the cut that he suffered, he was constantly pawing at it and everything. He was just like, the cut totally distracted Julian J-Rock Williams. And it was a shame because as a veteran of the sport now, he's a he's a world champion, now former unified champion. You have to bear through that. Act like this is when you put on your acting cap. You have to act like that cut ain't bothering you or whatever. Don't paw at it or whatever. Don't let the opponent see that you're wounded. Even though he might see the blood, if you act like it's not even there, you know, he'd be like, man, this dude, he bleeding and he don't, you know. You give him something to think about. But you start pawing at it or whatever, and he looking like, yeah, I got you now, sucker, you know. And it works psychologically one way for one and the other for another. So it's like he just wouldn't stop pawing at that cut. That meant he was distracted. So now that you're distracted, maybe some shots by the opponent can start landing. And that's exactly what happened. He got hit with a debilitating punch that ended the fight, uppercut. But he tried to hold on. When he got shook, he tried to hold on. He had lost his legs and everything, and he was trying to hold. But this is the part where I also recognize, because Jason Rosario was so strong at mid-range and everything, now J-Rock was at the mercy of the guy. because he was right at that range trying to get in to reach and tie up, and the guy was pounding on him. You know, eventually he went to the canvas, and when he got up, he was in bad shape, and they gave him a chance, but he couldn't get his bearings back, and he was stopped. And it was a good stoppage because he was done. He was done. And gracious in defeat as he was in victory, he congratulated his conqueror. He spoke of him being the better man on the night, and he had no excuses, you know. It was something that, it was humbling, a humbling experience. But as I had remarked in my pre-fight show and, you know, breakdown video and everything, I spoke about those hometown title defenses, man. Man, you better make sure that the dude you fighting in your hometown title defense, you know what I mean? He might have just turned pro. You know what I mean? Because it's like, dude, it's horrible that this happens. But it's boxing. And seemingly almost every fighter, not every fighter has been upset, but it was always a rough go coming back home. You know what I mean? Unless you're one of them guys that fought most of your career at home before you went out and ventured out. And then you become that fish out of water type of deal. But I was leery of this happening. I said the intangibles, you know, but I favored J-Rock. But I knew this guy was a live body. I saw some highlights of him, but I had never watched him, you know, or followed him in his career. And I was even told by some of the brothers I was talking to that he had, you know, been beaten up. Jason had been beaten up in a fight before this. And it's funny because just because you lose to one guy don't mean you'll lose to the next guy and the next guy and vice versa. This is why these guys need to get out there and mix it up. And it's also another reason and also an example of when fighters fight top quality opposition, these are the type of things that can happen. On any given night in boxing, you know, if you're fighting top quality opposition, this can happen to you. And I just hated that it happened in his first title defense. And it was just, wow. It was a shocker, ladies and gentlemen. It was a true shocker. You know, I want to go back into the chat. Kenneth Johnson has joined us. He says, salute. Trap House says, Bad Boys for Life is the movie he went to see. Okay. You know, the first one was okay. The second was so-so. I don't know if I want to see the third one. I'm kind of tired of Will Smith, man. Ronald Finkley is out there. He says, what's good? Salute. Mahari Nation Sports Podcast says, unbelievable upset. Yes, it was, man. Yes, it was. Unbelievable. Ronald Finkley says, congratulations to the new IBF WBA Junior Middleweight Champion, Jason Rosario. Absolutely. You have to applaud the guy. Did you see him crying, bro? You know, he went in there, dude, he was humbled, you know. That lets you know this wasn't like fake, man. This wasn't something that was all set up in the cards or whatever. That kid came and he conquered, man. He conquered the world champion, you know. And the world champion had conquered the previous world champion. And these are the type of things that can happen when these guys fight each other. I don't know why people like to use that narrative about someone being a bum or someone being, you know, oh, he'll smash him, so he don't really need to fight him because we know he'll take him out. No, let's see the fight. Let's see what happens, because you never know what happened. Just like we didn't expect J-Rock to get the cut over his eye, which totally became a distraction for him. I think that rattled him. It rattled him because it happened so early in the fight, second round, and he knew that you got 12 rounds to work with, supposedly scheduled, and he was probably in there, even as the punches was flying, like, I can't let him hit my eye. I can't, you know, are they going to be able to stop the cut? You know, all that kind of stuff. It could get to you. It's a mental game. And that's, you know, it comes with experience. And so therefore here he is, you know, having learned a new lesson in boxing, you know. Gigi is out there. He says salute at Derek Bailey. Jeff the producer says, Stormy, salute family. Salute to you, Jeff the producer. Jupiter B is out there. Salute Stormy, he says. And Jeff the producer says, them homecomings cursed. Yes, they are, man. Yes, they are. It's like first round NCAA NCAA tournament type circumstances where those high-ranked teams go in there with those low-ranked teams in that first round of the tournament, and there's always an upset in the cards. You just don't never know who it's going to be. You know, back when I was a young dude growing up in high school, going to college, my team at the time was DePaul. The DePaul Blue Demons. They had Mark Aguirre and Skip Dillard and all them dudes, you know, back in the day. And DePaul was notorious for having a great regular season record, 32-1 or something like that. Man, they get to the NCAA tournament. Ray Meyer, they bow out in the first round, the first game. St. John's and Louisville and teams taking them out. I was like, man, this is like crazy. And it happened a lot, man. It happened a lot. And I was like, damn, Georgetown. You know, it's like, and if they, I remember they made it to the Final Four one year. It was like 78 or something, 79. That was the year that Magic and them was really good. With Bird was with Indiana, and Magic was with Michigan State, you know. And I thought they was going to get a chance to play them guys, and they got put out in the first round again. I was like, man. So, yeah, them homecomings, they can be cursed like a son of a gun. I just did a profile on Evander Holyfield, and when he had his homecoming first title defense, well, I think it was his second title defense because his first title defense was against George Foreman. But when he had a scheduled fight with Mike Tyson fall through, he chose Burt Cooper as a replacement. And Burt Cooper damn near knocked Evander out. It was in Atlanta, Georgia, and he was having, you know, first time he was knocked down in his career and everything. And he was so hurt that they used the old trick and tactic in this corner. They said he had a rip in his glove, but they probably took a razor blade and slightly cut the glove and tore it and be like, hey, ref, his glove was cut. Because he was throwing some hellacious uppercuts at Burt Cooper, but he was hurt. So they ripped the glove. They had to take a moment out and replace his equipment. So that gave him a chance to recover, you know. But smart corner, thinking on their feet, you know, saved Evander's championship. Otherwise, we would have been smoking Burt Cooper, heavyweight champion of the world. Shit. So that was one of those instances. But man, J-Rock, oh man, I'm sorry that the brother lost his title tonight. It was one of those things where you just, it's like, man. But I'm happy for Rosario, I have to say, because he came and he conquered. He put the effort out there. Hey, if you don't let your hands go, nothing can happen, right? And he was out there putting hands on J-Rock. He was. And I'll tell you something. He can put hands on a few more of them brothers out there in that division too. It's nice to see that nobody is the solid champ. That these guys are vulnerable, and they're vulnerable because they're fighting the men that they should be fighting. Now, wouldn't it be funny? And I would shout out to Kurt Sugar. We talked about it. It's like, wouldn't it be funny that if Jared Hurd tell his people, hey, I want to fight this guy, because that guy's a stand in your way guy, like stand in front of you, and that's the kind of fight that Hurd likes, right? He don't have to chase nobody or whatever. And Hurd is probably a little physically stronger than Jason. So it's like, it could be a good matchup for Hurd. And wouldn't it be funny if he won his titles back from that dude? So it's something to be said, you know, to get these guys in the ring fighting each other. Yeah. Jeff, the producer, also offered J-Rock better study that Gallimore-Rosario fight before the rematch. Yeah. he gotta work on some things, man. The mental aspect of the game for him, I think now. Derek Bailey says, yeah, those were real tears. Absolutely, man. That kid, he was trying to hold it together, man. He's holding his belts. He's proud and everything. Then that shit hit him, man. He was like, oh, I did it. Adrian, I did it. So, yeah, man. You know, the theater of the unexpected. What a fight, man. What a fight. And it was still a good fight between the two guys. They were hitting each other, you know, highly contested. I like the fact that both of them had their hands up. You know, it wasn't no that left hand hanging low and all of that. But, man, that kid was strong, man. I wonder what he weighed, you know, going in on fight night. Mahari Nation Sports Podcast says, I still remember Zab Judah defeating Corey Spinks in his hometown of St. Louis for the undisputed welterweight championship. Spinks was never the same after that devastating loss. Yeah, Abel Mahari, that's another example that was great about these guys out there, you know, defending in front of a partisan crowd of the hometown and stuff like that, man. Listen. There's an old saying, you can't go home again. That's when you become a world champion. You tell them, hey, y'all come to Vegas. Shit, I ain't coming home, man. I ain't going to get knocked out in front of my cousins and uncles and aunts and shit in the shy. You know, y'all got to come to the what do they call it? The Caesar's Palace. Save your money. Shit. But yeah, buddy. Wow. Wow. Legendary Top Cats is in the house. He says, turn up OG Stormy B, man. What's going on, Legendary, man? You guys have had some good stuff going on over here on your channel with them conversations, bro. Man, it's good to see the brothers having such serious and educational knowledge and information being dropped and discussed. Keep up the good work, bro. Tyrone Smith is out there. He says, salute y'all. Salute Tyrone. And Derek Bailey says, salute at Tyrone. Harold Jones says, Cooper was a replacement for Francesco Damiani. Thank you for the correction, Harold Jones. I forgot that window because Damiani was going to be a replacement for Mike Tyson. So you're right. Thank you, sir. Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens says, salute my peoples. Salute to you, Reggie. Mahari Nation Sports Podcast says, 154 is the most competitive division in boxing. All them fighters want smoke with everybody. I don't know if they all want smoke with everybody, but one thing has been happening. They've been mixing it up. And I'll tell you guys a secret. You know why Canelo got the hell up away from there now, don't you? Huh? Canelo got the hell out of Dodge, man. He's like getting a little crowded around here. Whoop. He took off like the road runner, man. Got the hell up from 150. Well, it was 155 for him, remember? So, you know, a pound and shit. Yeah, 155. Get your ass back down there, Canelo. They got something for you. Huh? That's right. Jeff, the producer, says at Mahari Nation Sports Podcast, facts. That's it. Straight up, man. Tried and true. And Derek Bailey is saluting Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. Legendary Top Cat says, J-Rock better leave that youngster alone. That jab was too long and strong. Forced J-Rock to fight on the inside, and the power was overwhelming. I called it in the second round. Yes, sir. I saw it in the first round. Top Cats, like midway through the round, and me and the brothers was online talking about it, and I was like, dude, I don't feel too good about this with J-Rock. Then the cut happened. I was like, oh shit. And then you could see that when J-Rock was getting in that mid-range, dude was touching him up and it was hurting him, and he was like trying to figure out like, okay, what do I do now? And he's wiping at the cut and everything. I'm like, You know, wanted to wave the flag and shit. You know, it's like, but you know what? Salute to J Rock, man. He fought, he got knocked out, but you know what? Can't take away, he was a champion. He was a champion. He a world champion. He took on a tough guy. He didn't take on an easy touch. Jason Rosario gonna find it hard to get some of them guys to get in there with him if he trying to unify belts. They're gonna be like, man, you crazy. Jeff the producer's laughing out loud. The sister, the queen, Beverly Rose Boxing and Entertainment says, Stormy, what's good with you, sister? I ain't seen you in a long time. Y'all too busy over there talking that late night red light stuff over there with your little wine and everything. Don't even recognize Stormy no more. But I'm glad to see you tonight, sister. Andrew Charles says, salute Stormy B-Man. Salute to you. Legendary is laughing. And what we got here? Derek Bailey says, peace, queen. Beverly Rose Boxing and Entertainment. Yeah, man. Let me tell you something, man. When you have fights like that, what we saw tonight, and they could be over as quickly as they were over, you know, you can't fault, you know, the fighter who lost. You can't fault the fighter who won for giving you theater. You know, that's what we tune in for. You know, imagine had that been a lackluster 12-round, you know, lopsided fight or a very close fight that had a controversial decision or something like that. Then you'd be complaining, right? You'd be like, oh, man, I thought so-and-so won. Oh, I thought this happened. Oh, I thought that happened, whatever. But this was final. You know, there was a finality to it. It's like, you know, you can't help but salute the guy who won. It may just not have been the guy you wanted to win, or maybe some of you wanted, you know, Jason to win. The one thing I will say, though, I always talk about when these guys face quality opposition. It makes a difference. You can go out there and you can fight guys that you know you could beat going in and all of that. But 50-50 fights, you can forget about it. Because, as I said, Rosario has a loss on his record. He's lost. J-Rock has a loss on his record. And now he's lost it for a second time. We got guys out there like Erickson Lubin who has lost. Jamel Charlo has lost. Jared Hurd has lost. Now, guess what? All of these men, what if they start just fighting each other? Fuck it, I'm going to fight the guy now. My O is gone, so let me go on and get it on. You're going to see some more dudes take losses. Because styles make fights. Hunger, desire makes fights. Technique, will to win, all of that factors in. People who want to come back, people who want to overcome and get their pound of flesh back, all of that can set up something for, you know, the future. This is why you should clamor for, hey, not just a rematch between these two men, but you should want to see that guy fight the other fighters whose names I mentioned. Jason Rosario, need to see him fight the other guys. And if the other guys think that J-Rock gonna be easy pickings off of this, probably not. He came back once, he could come back again. That's the thing. Harold Jones says the Dominican was training and living in a boxing type of halfway house where you could not even leave by yourself. Everything was done with the team. Most fighters will not submit to that. And I'll tell you something, Harold Jones, that allows a fighter to stay focused, stay determined, and hunker down on what's important. You know, that's a real camp. You know, you ever heard of internment camp? That's what that's like. But the payoff is you don't have any excuses. After you've gone through something like that, you can really go into a fight and you bring a lot with you. You know, it's an intangible hardship, you know. Beverly Rose Boxing and Entertainment, she's got the hearts out there. Salute to your sister. And L-Dog Feed says Charlo and Rosario to Madrimov. Yeah, man. It's, you know, when we start the year off like this, it says a lot, doesn't it? It's like, man, it's just January. Shit, we ain't even out the month yet, man. And it's drama, you know. Clarissa had drama in her fight. She dropped that girl with a body shot. That was her first knockdown. You know what I mean? She won another title. It's like at another weight. Dude, give me more. That's all I can say about that. Who's that? Miguel Angel Lopez says Tony Harrison got 3 losses and still a fighter with skills and pulled great ratings with Jamel. Yeah. You know, and I'm going to tell you something, man. That whole thing about Floyd Mayweather started that crap in this modern moment era in the sport, putting such emphasis on the O. Man, but there were a lot of fighters he could have fought that could have contested that O too, and he didn't. You know, he had a lot of advantages on fighters that he faced. Yes, he did beat some great fighters too, but when he moved into a place where he could call all the shots, he made certain that he aligned himself up in that way. Now, there are fighters out there who will go about it a different way. They want to face all the best. And the more success you have against the best, the more you feel confident about taking on the best. And see, Floyd wasn't about that. You know, being the selfish individual he is, he went about it in a different manner. But what people saw and what he advertised was being undefeated was important. Hell, the old trainers didn't even care about being undefeated. They wanted you to have a loss on your record before you challenge for a world title, because they feel like you'll understand what a loss means to your life, what it means to have to go and rebuild or start over or to regroup, so to speak. So they wanted you to go through that, because when you did achieve, you would fight harder with more intensity and more incentive to retain what you've acquired, you know, or all that you have attained. It's like you won't give it up so easily. You know, that saying that you hear guys say, they'll have to kill me to get my title. Well, these guys, they get hit a good shot and they say, here you go, huh? With the title belt. But the old fighters, they fought like that. Matthew Saad Muhammad, Yaki Lopez, and those guys, you know, that they fought, you know, Michael Johnson, you know, those guys, they fought like you got to kill them to win their titles. And they fought 15 rounds. And most people didn't even want, it's like, the hell with that. I'm going to go fishing. You understand? Because those men fought like that. Marvin Hagler. You know, Marvin Hagler have a cut on his face and he hitting his face. Yeah, come on. Come on. He hitting his own face. You say, man, this nigga crazy. You know? I don't think I want boxing that much. But again, that's how they were. But guys up today, no. It's bluff and bravado. They get on social media, they say stuff and everything, and they think because they stand up there on them scales and you can see the little abs in their stomach because they train and lost weight and cut weight and everything, and they stand up there and they do all of that, and then they go out there and they get a little boo-boo, or they, you know, get dropped or something, and the world come collapsing down for them. Paper champs like a mug. You can hear when they in the ring, you can hear the paper tearing with every bit that happened to them. Here, took a good shot, shh, you know, got knocked down, shh, you know, you hear the paper tearing and shit. I'm telling you, that's what it is, man. You know? Reggie Owens says, right, that camp Rosario went in paid off majorly. Yeah, majorly. Yes, it did. Brooklyn Child Boxing says, hopefully Rosario keeps that same hunger. Don't act brand new. He may not, because if you saw how he responded to winning, because maybe he didn't even think, at the end of the day, it could happen that easy for him. Maybe he thought it would be a long, drawn out, tough fight, go to the decision. Because I don't think he thought that J-Rock would knock him out. He was probably pretty steady on that. Or maybe he thought that J-Rock could possibly get him because he beat Hurd so solidly. So that was, who knows what he was thinking. You have to interview the guy. But his emotional response to his achievement told you all you need to know. Now just hopefully the people around him that put him in that internment camp and everything, they could keep that going for him. Because they could show him, you see what we did here? This is why you won. Yeah? The proof is in the pudding. And that makes all the difference in the world. When you have someone that you can show and prove the things that, you're trying to teach in the gym, and you're trying to make him have a way about, being successful, buy into what you're selling. And that's what that is. It works. Brooklyn Child says Caleb Plant is having a homecoming next month. Let's see what happens in that one. I will make sure to do my homework off his opponent. Yeah, we have to do that. Brooklyn Child, we have to do our homework. They're going to make Stormy go back to school too, because I'm going to tell you something. I knew that Rosario was going to present problems just based on this was being a homecoming situation and knowing what has happened in the past. But I will do my studying up on Caleb's opponent, because if it goes like we talking about, man, and it's just January, like I said, we in for some fun times, okay? Some fun times. Brooklyn Child says, fuck Floyd. Yeah, exactly. And Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens says, no, the fans started that make you great with an O. Floyd did the proper things to stay undefeated. Oh, here we go. Reggie Owens gonna defend Floyd. Let's get off of Floyd. Let's talk about we'll get off of Floyd and just go on into this other fight that was on the card tonight, man, where my man Colbert, man, Chris Colbert, dude, this young kid is exciting. He is very exciting. I love the way he approaches boxing. He reminds me of Sweet Pea Whitaker. Not necessarily in a style, but he's a little guy that got a lot of fight on the inside of him. He's skilled. He's got good hand speed. He's got decent pop on that power on his punches, and his opponent Rosales tonight, he did not. It was like he got hit a shot early, and all he wanted to do is just kind of like keep Colbert's hands to himself, and little prime time, because he was calling himself B-Hop, little B-Hop. Now he's little prime time. So little prime time was like, you know what? I'm going to lay these hands on you, brother. And he was putting it, and it was funny because he doesn't present a physical presence in there, but all his physicality is on the inside. There was a moment where they got tied up, and the dude tried to lean his weight on Colbert's back, and he lifted that guy up like he wanted to body slam him, and then he stopped and just kind of let him drop off his shoulder. I could tell what he was thinking because I saw the motion of what he was about to do, and he thought better of it because he know he could get disqualified for that. But later in the fight, he did the same thing again, where the guy was coming at him, and he hit him some shots, and the dude was reaching out trying to grab him, and he matadored his ass around through the ropes and he went outside the ring. Colbert is like a good fighter, man. And he is a determined young little fighter. Got his first piece of jewelry now. And what is he, 12, 14 fights? That's kind of just like Sweet Pea as well, right? He's a good fighter. And he could fight many more times a year because he's in shape, he's focused, and he has ability. I think that he has the potential to make a lot of guys look bad when he faces them in that ring, man. You know? Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owen says, Corrales was holding on for dear life the whole fight. Yeah, man, because he couldn't deal with the speed, and the speed had power behind it too. So it's like, that little dude can punch like that. When you look at his body, he look real slender. He don't even look, they say he 5'8". Don't he look like he about 5'4" or something, 5'6"? He looked like a little bitty dude. But I want to see him. It's like there's a couple of fighters that I like to see again. I like to see him. I like to see Shakur Stevenson. I like to see Devin Haney. And I like that kid, Jaron Ennis. Those guys, it's like when they fighting, you know, I'm ready to tune in. Because you can see the talent that they have is a little bit special than the other guys in their divisions and everything. But those are also the kind of guys you don't want to just keep feeding them, you know. And that was a good thing about tonight's fight too with Colbert. The fact that he was in there with a guy that could take him rounds. You know, that going to a decision, 12th round, that's nothing but good stuff for him. But he's still going to get his share of knockouts because as the level of opposition that he faces gets raised, he's going to be able to hand out punishment to people because there are going to be people who take chances against him. And that's when he'll shine. He's already shining, but he'll really shine when someone gives him those opportunities where he can catch a guy and, you know, a guy that's not looking to just survive and hold on and things like that. They need to put him in there with some guys who call themselves hunters who want to come for him. That's when he's going to really look his best, just like Pernell did. So I look forward to that from him. You know, what do you guys think about that kid? I really like him. You know, Brooklyn Child Boxing says Colbert is the truth. And Boxing Conversations with Reggie On says, at Brooklyn, real talk, he is the truth. Yes, he is. You know, I remember I saw him maybe like 3 fights ago for the first time. And I was a little distracted by his hair and his wardrobe that time when he came out for that particular fight. But it was undeniable what I was seeing with his skill set in there. He made the guy, that he was in there with that night that I watched him look like he wasn't just head and shoulders above that guy talent-wise. That guy was like maybe at his waist, you know, and it was like, and he's still showing it, you know. Rosales, he survived. He survived. Somebody gonna get it. When you got guys in there trying to survive, a dude will survive on your ass, especially if he cooperates with him. You know, the ref will let him, you know, hold and do different things, you know, and that's something you'll see. But, you know, Colbert's got some skill. He got some real good skill. Omega Red has joined us. He says, salute family. Salute to you, Omega Red. How you doing? Good to see you out there. Brooklyn says, Colbert is very versatile and he is multifaceted. He has a plan A, B, C, and D. Yep. And it all involves whooping your ass and trying to get you out of there. That's definitely something that he tries to do. He is that guy. You know, he's that guy that really works, and he works that type of effort, you know. And I can't wait to see him again. They need to put him on some Deontay Wilder cards. You know, let him get out there, get that exposure, man. Because that's the kind of thing you want to see from young fighters like him, especially when they got that head and shoulders talent. He's head and shoulders above others. You know, as I was scoring the rounds, I'm looking at my scorecard. I think I gave Corrales like 1 round, 2 rounds, maybe. And there was something else that he did very well. He went after him, you know, early on when he saw that Corrales was like trying to jab with him and do some things. He got hit with a certain shot. And that's another thing. I'm sorry, I got 2 thoughts going on. Let me finish the first thought. He walked the dude down. You know, he put his gloves up and said, forget this, I'm going after the guy. And he went after him like that. And then that's when Colbert was just holding on. Corrales was just holding on, trying to stop what he was doing. But he couldn't stop it. And the way he was pushing the guy around and everything, it was showing me that he has dog in him, you know, and he's competitive. He's like, he got hit a shot or 2. That's my other thought that I had that was running concurrently with my initial thought. When he gets hit a shot, he want to get your ass back. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's a good shot, but he ain't going to tell you, oh, that's a good shot. You see him clench his teeth and everything, and he coming right back at you. He going to have to tame that, though, because he could get set up. But it's good to see that his competitive edge is like, you ain't going to just do something to me and I ain't going to get it back or do something back to you. And I like that. You know, it's very telling about his disposition as a fighter. You know, let's see. Omega Red says, all good training, Al Good was training some kids after the fight. They was excited, so I showed them some things. Man, sometimes you brothers be writing stuff in the chat, man, and you give me a conniption or something. We're trying to read that stuff, man. You know, hooked on phonics or something, bro. It's like I'm trying to read it, but it hurt my brain. Shit. Andrew Charles says, Colbert was patient too. Never stopped fighting his fight. Absolutely. Do you realize that was one thing that Sweet Pea Whitaker was a master at? Imposing his will on the fight. We fighting my way tonight. He look at you a couple rounds and be like, nah, you can't. We gonna fight my way tonight. And that's ring generalship. When you lead a guy right into your lair like a spider and he get caught up in your web, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. I love to see that, you know. Love to see it. So, you know. So I like to see that kid again. You know, give him a couple months, put him right back in there on another PBC card, let him roll. Yeah. So there was another card on ESPN that started while the main event of PBC between J-Rock and Jason Rosario. And in that ESPN card, I think they had Oscar Valdez in their opening fight, and he struggled against a guy. I forget the guy's name because I just switched over real quick, you know, and that fight was starting in round 2 when I switched to it, and the J-Rock fight came on, so I definitely switched back. But because the J-Rock fight ended in the 5th round, I switched back to the other broadcast, and that fight was now like going into the 10th round or something like that. It was about the last round. But the main event was Alida Alvarez against Michael Seals. Now, I wanted to watch this fight because Alida Alvarez, who had knocked out Sergey Kovalev a couple years ago and fought him in a rematch where he gave Kovalev his title back. And I said gave it back to him because, again, he out there, here you go, giving the title back. In the rematch, he didn't throw punches at Kovalev in the rematch. Now, in the first fight, he knocked Kovalev out, touched him up, put him on the canvas more than once. In the rematch, I noticed, and I had remarked in some various covering of the fight, I said, this fight looked fixed to me. It looked like they paid him off not to beat Kovalev, and he fought like a guy who had his hands tied. How you going to go from knocking a guy out, touching him up, making him look like, oh, he's finished, and in the rematch, you just looking at him and wiping your nose like this, going around the fight, like throw a shot every once in a while, throw a shot, move around, and you never let loose any of those fusillade of punches that you laid on his ass the first time around. And Kovalev was there to be hit. I said it looked funny then, and I still say it looked funny now. Because tonight, the old Alida Alvarez, the one that Adonis Stevenson was ducking for 2-3 years, showed up. The one who knocked Kovalev on his ass a couple of times and knocked him out, showed up. He was out there fighting this guy Seals tonight, and Seals was in there like holding on for dear life. Every time it looked like that Alida Alvarez was going to run off some punches on him, Seals was reaching out to hold and grab. Survival of the fittest in there, huh? And once, Alida recognized this in the guy, he resumed his bully type tactics, and he was hitting him behind the head, banging him in close and stuff like that. And Seals was like doing more mean mugging the guy from getting hit behind the head and stuff like that than fighting and letting his hands go. But I could tell that the power that Alvarez has is real. So I was waiting to see if he was going to go for the knockout or if he was just going to work his way through the fight in a workmanlike fashion to a decision. That ain't what happened, ladies and gentlemen. In round 7, I think that's the round I had. I was scoring the fights now. Stormy got his little, look here, I got my scorecards, my score sheets and everything. It's all nice and printed out there. You see, I can score my fights. But I got my scorecards, the Stormybman scorecards. I might even sell some so y'all can have your own, because you can't make the graphics as good as me. But anyway, by the 7th round, he had lured this guy Seals, Michael Seals, into some traps. Okay? And I was remarking to the guys I was watching the fight with, I said, this guy's just reaching out to hold. As soon as Alvarez get close, he'll run a couple of shots, and the guy's holding him and everything. Man, he hit that dude went to, like, he was going to load up and try to throw a right hand, a seldom released shot. And, of course, Alvarez could see that all day long. Counter right hand on the jaw. That dude got hit on the chin. His legs went stiff into rigor mortis, and he hit the floor, and that was it. And the ref counted, and the guys will tell you, I was saying, what the ref counting for? That dude is finished. He wave it off, ref. So the ref finally waves the fight off. Then he started yelling at the ref, cussing at the ref, because the ref waved the damn fight off. Dude, you knocked the fuck out. What you complaining about? You showing more energy now because the ref stopped the fight than you were showing Alvarez while you were in the ring fighting with him. Maybe he knocked him into a different personality or something, because that was all chin that he got hit with right there. Alvarez counter right hand took that dude out, man. That's the same punch that he put Kovalev on the canvas with the first time when he hit him with that left-right combo and Kovalev went tumbling down like the Great Wall. You know, and I said, okay, now I'm convinced that he was paid off to lose to Kovalev in their rematch. I'm going to tell you guys something. Alito Alvarez can fight, bro. And he ain't no pushover. Let's see him in there against Bivol and the other guys, Beater Beeve and them guys. You know why? Because he can fight. He has that Cuban background. You know what I mean? He can box, and he's got power. He don't have to be afraid. And he don't have to go for a knockout right away. Like I said, this was a 7th round knockout. You know? So that's what I have to say about that. Andrew Child says, yeah, I read that one. Omega Red says, my bad, Stormy B, man, was typing fast, doing 2 things at once. Yeah, man. I was like, man, gave me brain damage after that one, trying to read that comment. L Dog says, I had Colbert losing by 1 round. Man, get the hell out of here with that bullshit. Brooklyn Child says, do you think Joey Spencer should change trainers? I'm going to do a video on the subject. Hey, that's a good idea, Brooklyn Child, because yes, the way he is fighting, he is heading for disaster. He has some talent and ability, but I don't like his posture. That whole stance is all wrong for him. And he is not operating behind an efficient jab because his jab and his jab hand are already at a disadvantage by his stomach like this. How you gonna jab somebody from your stomach? Get the fuck. Who is teaching these guys, man? Really? Huh? Some dude that sit on the chair outside in the backyard. You do it this way. Get the man. No. Yeah, do it. Hey, I support you on that, Brooklyn. Do a feature on that and talk about that, bro. Because that young kid gonna get killed when he steps up to quality opposition because they're not. He's already at a disadvantage just in that posture alone. So Andrew Child says that bottom rope save Seals a world of hurt. Yeah, listen. The ref saved him because he finally stopped counting and waved the damn fight off. And then he got mad at the ref. How you gonna get mad? He was mad at his corner and everything. Everybody over there trying to ask him, you okay? Get away from me, man. He shouldn't have stopped the fight. Dude, you were knocked out. Knocked the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? They should have stopped the fight. The ref didn't even have to count. I saw when he hit the canvas. Dude, his legs was stiff like 2x4s with boxing trunks on them. Stiff. Huh? Shit. Dude, it's like you couldn't break them damn 2x4s. That dude's legs was like this. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't even catch himself. He fell on the ropes like a dead man. That's why I said rigor mortis has set in before he even hit the canvas. Huh? Wookie Wook is out there. He says, salute Stormy, my brother. What's going on? He says, I'm currently in the gym. Had to stay at the hotel tonight. Got snowed in. Yeah, we had some snow here yesterday, bro. And this morning I had to go out there and clear the path. But thank God I did when I did, because some rainfall happened. And you know when rain fall on top of snow, how heavy that shit get? Stormy B man smart though. I just pushed it, with the show. I just pushed it to the side, cleared the paths. I didn't even want to pull the snowblower out for that mess because it get all clunked up in there because it's wet snow, But it didn't get a chance to get heavy on me because I got out there early. Let that be a lesson to y'all that have to clear the snow. Get your ass up and get on out there and do it early, because if you don't, then the conditions change. Then your ass be wishing you had got out there. That's right, man. And let's see, we got God's Boxing Corner. He says, they have been feeding Spencer kickboxers and MMA fighters. Yeah, because any technical boxers, they gonna fuck that kid up, man. Big time. Yeah, I see. It's nothing but jabs and right hands in his future. Huh? So yeah, L Dog says, I thought Spencer lost to Black. Brooklyn says, L Dog, him being basic is not the problem. The problem is he lacks basics. He keeps his hands low and doesn't use the jab. And he says, L Dog says, that Colbert fight was damn close. At Brooklyn Child, that Mayweather shoulder roll pot shot style just does not work. Unless you have been doing since 5 years old, it ain't gonna work. Brooklyn says, too much of these fighters fighting out of a Philly shell posture. It's terrible, bro. The taco shell posture. Yeah, sprinkle some salsa on it and he's done. Yeah, man. Don't listen. Boxing 101. You get out there like this. Your elbows are supposed to be tight into your rib cage, and you're supposed to move your head. Okay? You get out there, you shoot the jab. When you shoot the jab, you turn that palm over where your palm is facing the floor, and the knuckle of your hand, when you throw it down, you're supposed to be turned toward the floor. That's what you do. Huh? Not your arm down here like you scratching your ass or some shit. Huh? These trainers watching these guys, and I know they're getting hit in the gym because they're getting hit in the live action. So this is how guys get beat up in the gym. Peter Quillen, listen to the guy, how he talk. All them, getting beat up in the gym. You get beat up in the real live action too. These guys, what are they doing, man? And when they shadow box, the trainers don't tell them, you shoot the shots and bring them back. Huh? Keep your chin tucked. The fighter's supposed to tuck the chin in. Your chin inside your shoulder. You tuck that chin in. You're supposed to be looking up and out. Huh? And when you're fighting a guy, you ain't supposed to be looking in his eyes. You're supposed to be looking around his shoulder area, whatever. You can see the flex when he getting ready to show you a punch or something. You understand? You keep your eyes, you have to use peripheral vision because the eyes are deceptive. Huh? But these guys don't know what the hell they're doing. These trainers. These guys are, bucket carriers and guys that have a towel thrown over their shoulder. Toothpick hanging out their mouth. Horrible. Horrible. L Dog says, Teofimo is the next Mayweather wannabe that is going to get exposed. I don't deny that. That is very possible. He says, I expect Lomachenko to stop Teofimo. He may not stop him, but he may beat him. And if he does beat him, that lets you know how good Teofimo isn't. It's not about how good Lomachenko is, because he didn't get as accomplished as he got during his amateur career and everything, not having ability. It's just that he's not fighting the right fights in the pro level for us to see that ability. Brooklyn Child Boxing says, laugh my ass off. Curtis Anderson is out there. He says, what a tangle web we weave. What is that to, Kurt? It's like, I like the saying, but what we talking about? And Wookie Wook says, man, that J-Rock upset was just amazing. I'm still trying to digest all of that. Let me tell you something, bro. That's how boxing goes. That's the real boxing right there. Guys just going out, beating, undeserving challenger after undeserving challenger, mounting the victories and not being contested and challenged in a fight. Every once in a while, you have a fight like this that snaps everything back into reality. Where you be like, oh, that's what happens when a person get their ass whooped. That's what happens. L Dog says, Teofimo looks awful against southpaws because he circles toward their rear hand while using a shoulder roll. Just wait and see. Total mismatch in the making. Curtis Anderson says J-Rock stays in the pocket too long and doesn't have a chin for it. That is becoming what is the book on J-Rock, Kurt, that his chin may not hold up to what his intents are in the ring. So therefore, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, find the things that he does extremely well from a boxing standpoint, and start building and retooling his offensive skills around that. Because there are things you can do, but it may not be the most crowd-pleasing fight that he'll be able to fight, but he can keep himself safer from being knocked out. A person will have to really work hard to knock him out, like a Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns could really box, but Hearns was a brave guy. He was braver than his chin, okay? And so Tommy would get knocked out against guys that really shouldn't knock him out because he would be undisciplined and leave himself open for opportunity. But it made for an exciting career, exciting fights, but, you know, it was not something that was to his advantage. And Curtis says, boxing in general. Okay, about the tangle web we weave comment. So, yeah, I get you. And that's true, bro. It's really true. I'm trying to adjust my headphones on my head because I'm listening to the feedback as well as, you know. Okay. Jeff, the producer, is laughing out loud. And let's see. Wookie Wook says, this is why we love boxing. See, this is how I know Terrence Crawford ain't what we said he was. Put him in with another dog and we gonna see. Wookie Wook, you've been sniffing up the wrong tree, bro. Terrence Crawford is a talent, bro. And you're gonna find as soon as they start putting him in there with some other guys, you're gonna be like, oh shit, I didn't realize. I've been saying that about him for a long time. He's another one of those fighters that goes along and people make comments and everything or whatever, but he just continues to go about what he does. And you'll look back at the end of the day and be like, I was wrong about that guy. And you'll see, the moment people start signing to fight him, why do you think the man has been at welterweight for a couple of years and ain't nobody fought him yet? And this is not just hyping him up or lifting him up. It's the God's honest truth. There have been other people that come up from the lower weight, and these guys take them on right away. Some of them they sought out as opponents before they even got to the division. They offered them fights, and that has been the case. But just let them get in there with somebody. Yep. Andrew Charles says, there are fighters out there you may not ever heard of that will beat your guy if they come more prepared. Yep. Curtis Anderson says, J-Rock beats Hurd in his hometown fight, turns around and loses in his home. Hey, Kurt, I hadn't even thought about that, man. Damn, you're right. Holy crap, man. Did you guys read that what Kurt wrote there? J-Rock spoiled Jarrett Hurd's homecoming. Took his titles. And in his first title defense, Jason Rosario spoils J-Rock's homecoming. Dude, that is crazy as hell. I didn't even think of it like that, even though I know it's his hometown coming. But I didn't even think about it was freaking Jarrett Hurd's hometown coming too. That's amazing, bro. That's amazing. Wookie Wook say, we gonna see. Yeah, as long as they fight, Wookie Wook. As long as they fight, that's when we'll see. They have to fight. And I'm more than confident in what can transpire because I've watched the sport too long, bro. I've watched the sport too long. Some of the guys that you really love at welterweight, support and everything, they're not as good as you think they are. But that's okay because that's boxing, you know. Mike Tyson wasn't as good as people thought he was. Huh? There you go. Huh? Lennox Lewis was better than a lot of people thought he was. You know, people were waiting for Lennox to lose and waiting for Lennox to lose, and everybody who was champ around him and before him and everything were gone by the time he ended his reign. Undisputed. Huh? People just hated Lennox Lewis because he was not American, you know. But the man was a damn championship fighter and a good fighter at that. He was Olympic gold medalist and everything. Whooped y'all boy, Riddick Bowe, whooped his ass in the Olympics. And Bowe didn't even want to face him as a pro. But y'all was like, Lennox, oh, he's to this. Lennox is to that. How about this? Lennox has the reputation for having defeated every man that he faced in the ring. Huh? How about that? Especially in his professional career. Yeah, he suffered a couple of knockouts. Yeah. Lucky punch knockouts. Because he wasn't beaten up. You know, he wasn't like down on scorecards and defeated. Yeah, he got a shot in, caught him. It could happen to anybody. But he came back and faced those guys and whooped their asses. Whooped their asses. Okay? So when he retired, he had beat all of them. And he had said, I want to get rid of all the misfits in the heavyweight division. And guess what he did? During his time, he accomplished just that. Huh? Brooklyn Child Boxing says that Andrew Charles. That's a fact, bro. But that's the beauty of the 154 division. It's very deep. Jeff, the producer, says, karma, laugh out loud. Kenneth Johnson is laughing. Andrew Charles says, Brooklyn Child Boxing, I look forward to Spence at 154. He going to get his ass whooped. Brooklyn Child Boxing says at Wookie Wook, don't sleep on Bud. He can smoke your favorite fighter like a pack of Newports. That's exactly. But you know what, Brooklyn? Don't even go there, bro. Don't even waste your time. Just let these guys be boo-hooing after the fights take place, huh? Whoever steps up first is going to be a domino effect. But I will say this, between Spence, Crawford, Porter, Garcia, that's Danny Garcia, and Jaron Ennis isn't up there yet, but between those four guys and Keith Thurman, you could throw him in there, even though he don't want to be thrown in there. You could throw Keith Thurman in there. Between those five guys, if they fought each other, okay, it doesn't matter how you do it. If they fought each other, none of them will come out undefeated against the other. Somebody gonna lose to somebody. That's how boxing goes. This is why you have to have the fights. And it won't even be the guys you think. That's why you didn't see the J-Rock loss coming, because you guys be clouded with your judgment. You like a guy so much. You just put so much into it, and it's like he can't do any wrong. Huh? That ain't the way boxing works, man. Those intangibles come into play. Shit happens in a fight that you never thought that you would happen. And next thing you know, your fighter is defeated. Huh? It happens. Sam D says, can we get Lubin versus Harrison? That's not the kind of fight that Lubin would be looking for. Lubin would be looking for another title shot. And Lubin better stay the hell away from this Jason Rosario. He better stay away from him. It's going to be interesting, though, watching these guys fight. That 154, like, you know, Andrew Charles said, that's a hell of a division right there. You could have great fights for the rest of the year from that division alone. And there ain't got to be two fights. You understand? It could be a single fight match made up. And those guys just fight on cards through the rest of the year. You can go through that. That's hellified action and hellified matches without there being a rematch. That's how many good fights that could be made through the rest of this calendar year at 154. And now that you got this new strong kid in there, you know, sometimes a guy wins a title and they say, the old saying is, he could become 10% better or a greater percentage based on the fighter, but at least 10% better being a champion. I don't know what happened to J-Rock. He didn't come out and box like he should and could, but that cut, he allowed that to get in his psyche, and he got distracted, and that was it, man. That was pretty much it for him. So, you know, it is what it is, as y'all say. But yeah, man, what an amazing evening of boxing. You know, we saw some good stuff tonight. Saw some damn good stuff tonight. You know. Andrew Charles says, I get humbled often in boxing, but I still rock with my fighters, win or lose. Hey, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. We like who we like. You know what I mean? But what should always be considered is what I try to maintain. Leave your mind open for the possibility of things that are the unknown to you. Huh? Because the unknown to you could be something that transpired. Your fighter break his hand in a match, or he get a cut, or, you know, just something unexpected. You know what I mean? And that can happen. He get hit a shot and it changes his whole way of thinking. I remember Hector Camacho fighting Edwin Rosario. And before fighting Rosario, Camacho was a blazing gun. He'd go in there and jump on people with combinations and stuff. He was aggressive, and he would get people out of there. But he was a southpaw boxer, puncher, and, you know, he gave as good as he got. But against Edwin Rosario, Rosario was a puncher. He didn't have a great deal of boxing skill, but he was a tough guy, and he was a champion. And with his little short arms, he could really get leverage and power on his punches. And he hit Camacho with a shot in his fight with Camacho, and Camacho got shook, and it was like a light switch went on in Camacho's head, and he was like, I ain't never been hit like that before. Then he got hit again before the end of the fight. He inked out a decision over Edwin Rosario. But from that fight forward, when Camacho fought, he basically stayed on his bicycle, moving around the ring, circling guys, throwing combinations fast, and getting out of there. He was no longer trying to knock people out. Unless he hit a guy with a shot and could visibly see the guy shook or whatever, he might try to go in and get more work done. But he fought safety first ever since that Rosario fight. He never put his foot on the gas again, as he had done all those fights prior to Rosario. So your fighter, who could anticipate that from Camacho? He used to walk around with the flashy clothes and robes and stuff, the big ass medallion hanging from his neck, macho time and all of that. Man, he still was crazy as hell outside the ring, but inside the ring, he was a little more calculating and thinking. He was like, shit, I could get hurt in here. You see? Sam D says, yeah, man, Nathaniel Gallimore stopped Rosario. J-Rock beat Gallimore and Rosario beat J-Rock. I love this sport of boxing. Absolutely, Sam D. That's what I was trying to say about the guys at 147. If they start fighting each other, those are the type of results you're going to see. And everybody talking about their fighter, whoever it may be, being the best and this and that, going to whoop everybody, and then somebody ain't going to survive this and that. Let them fight and see what happens. I guarantee you'll get that result that you just pointed out there. Multiple fighters taking other fighters on and winning fights. You know what I mean? And Brooklyn Child Boxing says, Andrew Charles, that's a fact. Logic says J-Rock should be humbled after talking all that smack to Hurd. He was talking smack to Hurd? I didn't recall that. Big Dose 513, salute to you, bro. He says, at Stormybman, I was saying that I like the Rosario kid, but I hope that J-Rock would win because he cares about his neighborhood. Did you get to listen to that beat, bro? Yes, I did. Big Dose. I listened to it this morning because it got too late for me last night. I like the beat. I already have a concept that I'm gonna put it together with, and I appreciate the work, bro. I appreciate you helping me out with that, and you'll hear it very soon on a project that I'm going to do. Uh, I'm trying to also Big Dose. You know, on weekends and certain weeknights of the week, I'm gonna send you a link into your email to my Discord server, and then I can talk to you behind the scenes about how to start getting your production, you know, like hooking you up like some of the things that I'm doing, if you like that, or you could do your own thing or whatever. But I'm going to introduce you to that. So, you know, keep your eye on your email when I send you a link. It'll be like on the evening, you know. Mondays is not good for me because I usually am either on a show or doing a show on Mondays. And Tuesdays I do the Tuesday tussle. So maybe a Wednesday or something like that. Well, Wednesday, dang, Smoke City. We'll work it out because I'm in the daytime when I'm at work. I can't work with that, but we will work together. I want to help you out, bro. Get you going with that. Let's see. Brooklyn Child Boxing says, Sam D, that's a great point. Logic says, how did that young cat Joey not dictate the fight versus that dude with 1 KO? You need to impress when on live TV. Listen, man. I told the guys when I was watching the fight, I said, how you out there and one fighter is like trying to do something and the other fighter don't know what to do. So it's like it was odd as hell. You know? The teaching out here is horrible. And you know what? It's not just in boxing. Teaching in the schools. You have to watch where you send your children to school and stuff, man. The quality of everything is just going down. Yeah. Big Dose 513 says, Macho Camacho was a beast. Yes, he was. Wookie Wook says, Brooklyn, Bud smoking Bud. He ain't beating nobody. Wookie Wook. There you go. That's Mr. What did I call Wookie Wook? He's out there death match promotions. He wants to put fighters in death matches and shit. Everybody except for the guys he like. So if Wookie Wook like a certain fighter, he ain't gonna say the fights he want to see his fighter in, hoping that he could just survive, huh? But he gonna put your guys in real tough and shit. You know, putting them in with all-time legends and shit. That's Wookie Wook. You know, the CEO of Deathmatch Promotions. So, yeah. Sam D says that Brooklyn Child Boxing, true meaning of styles make fights. Yes, sir. And he also, Logic says, that cut early totally took J-Rock out of his comfort zone, and he was bothered by it. Kudos to Rosario for seizing his moment. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that at all, brother. And he also says, I said that I think Harrison beats Rosario. Well, Harrison is his boxing IQ is so much higher. He could probably set traps for Rosario and run him into certain kind of shots, or just keep him turning and coming after him and countering him to death, and that just outbox him. You know, something that J-Rock is going to have to learn to do and be more effective with. You know what I mean? He's going to have to do that if he wants to keep boxing. Because moving up a weight class ain't going to help him. He has to learn how to utilize boxing skills. Logic says, that said, I think Harrison beats Rosario, and 154 is a toss-up at the moment, in my opinion. You very well may be right, man. You very well may be right. Big Dose says, I like Jermell to beat Rosario, though. Let me tell you something, Big Dose. That kid Rosario is very strong. Very strong. And when I say strong, that doesn't mean like Hercules, you know, but that means that If you stay within a certain range of him, he can wear you down. You got to go back to boxing. Right now, Mr. James has Charlo out there trying to knock everybody out. You put this kid in a position where you trying to knock him out, and he gonna knock you out. You know, that's what he did to J-Rock. So, Big Doe says, that's what's up, bro. Glad that I could help my brother. Yeah, man, I appreciate you helping me too, man. Wookie Wook says, that's good stuff, Stormy. Keep up the good work, brother. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. Deathmatch promoter. Curtis Anderson says, when you fight good fighters, you eventually lose. That's the nature of boxing. 101. It sure is, Kurt. And that 101 volume is about this thick, ain't it? Shit. Big Doe says, we'll get together, bro. No sweat, no rush. Family, all love. Okay, appreciate you, man. Sir Ken says, he's out there. Salute, Sir Ken. Haven't seen you in a minute. He says, Stormybman, salute. J-Rock allowed Rosario to sit down on his punches. Plus, J-Rock had no answer for that power. It wasn't just the power, because Rosario don't have that knockout power. Oh, he hit you and you out. He's strong. He's like Bitter Beef. You understand? And he looks like it. He's like Kell Brook. You know, Kell Brook, when he's at 147, Kell Brook is strong as an ox. You know what I mean? When he got in there with Triple G, there was a deficit there. But when he's in that 147, that's what he does to people. He's strong like that. You know? And Brooklyn Child Boxing says, at Wookie Wook, shaking my head. Andrew Charles says, did anybody see that Jared, the real big baby, Anderson tonight? He's young, got a monster jab, 3-0. He reminds me of Dubois, but he's homegrown from Toledo. No, I didn't see that. Sam D was timed out. What did he do, Wookie Wook? Big Doe says, that's funny you said that about school, Stormy. Me and my wife was just talking about that right before you said it. Yeah, man, listen, I told you, you guys, I've coached boxing, right? But I'm also a life coach. It's like, because the principles, when you are a teacher, there are certain principles that you have to make a part of the process of what you're doing. And the principles can be applied in multiple areas. It don't just stay home for the subject that you're working with. And they should be applicable to other circumstances, which will broaden your horizons. These guys, if you're a math teacher, the principles of math, they should be able to be utilized in other aspects of life. You see, you got people in your schools now just trying to fill your children's head with bullshit. Huh? That's true. Huh? They in there trying to teach your kids about sex and stuff like that. They don't need to be learning about sex. They need to be learning their ABCs. They need to learn how to write, cursive writing. Do you know that they ain't teaching cursive writing no more? So it's like, dude, it's ridiculous. So when I talk about these trainers out here, I'm talking about the history of what I've learned from boxing, coaching in the gym. I learned from some old timers, okay? Dedicated guys who had over 60 years in the sport. So when I'm talking about what I'm talking about, and I see these other guys slapping the pads or using them little foam tubes and shit like that, that ain't no fucking boxing. Teach a guy how to keep his chin down. Teach him how to roll his shoulders. Teach him how to make sure that, you know, when he throws his shots, that he don't telegraph and things like that. How to hide the right hand, huh? I'm telling you, this is, but you're right, bro. You're absolutely right, man. Big Dose, you're right. But it's good that your wife and you're on top of that, because if you have children and you putting them out there, you watch them damn teachers, man. You got teachers in there trying to fuck your kids. What the hell is that? Kids, huh? It's like you send your kids to learn, they in there trying to have sex with them. That's something like, you know, 78 and the brothers, they say it's Patreon material. That's Patreon material. And I ain't got the, you know, I don't have Patreon. I ain't, I ain't trying to even challenge it or go that way. I'm just saying. But that's a conversation people should be talking about. Definitely. So Wookie Wook says, I didn't mean to hide Sam D. Yeah, man, you put Sam D on timeout, bro. I was like, Sam was having a good conversation with us out here. I was wondering what that was about. So he said, my phone was in my pocket. Yeah, you have to take it off of chat when you put it in your pocket. Otherwise, that's what's going to happen, man. People be getting timed out, blocked and shit. It's like, what happened? A mysterious blocker and shit. So, yeah, Brooklyn Child says, why you hide Sam T, Wookie Wook? He said, I didn't mean to. It was a pocket block. And Brooklyn says, no doubt, bro. He says, I unhid him. Okay. Sam D says, Rosario said he will not be facing Jermell in at least 2 more fights. And he said that Jermell needs a couple of fights as well. I'm all for unifying. Yeah, there's going to be some banana peels out there. That's all that's telling you. Somebody going to slip. Shit. Let's see. Logic says, do you think the fight goes a different way if the cut didn't occur? I think it could have went longer. Definitely could have gone longer. There's no way that J-Rock wasn't distracted by that cut. He was dabbing at it too much. And it was very small. But the fact that he kept rubbing it with his glove, that can make it bigger, because that was eye tissue, eyelid tissue that was cut. So if your eyelid tissue is some of the softest skin tissue on your body. If you rub that with a glove, you're going to tear it open more. So he should have just pretend as best as he could that nothing was happening with it. And when he got back to a corner, let them work on it and start sticking and moving around. Get a guy angles, hit him a shot, get out the way, tie him up, use angles, tie him up in stronghold, and walk him backwards or turn him in circles. Because there are things you could do tactically, but you have to know how to do these things before that moment happens. You can't start trying to work on that in the championship fight. You're supposed to know how to do that. And he should have known better, dabbing at that eye. That guy started coming on harder because he saw he was wounded. Broderick Hunter's out there. What's up, Broderick? He says, Rosario will give all 154 problems, in my opinion. That's quite possible. And he says, across the board. Logic says, it's irony since J-Rock told Hurd he has to live with him beating him in his hometown. Karma for sure. Yeah, that is about right. Hyphy, my brother Hyphy's out there. He says, getting ready to head out, just listening in the background. Peace, Big Stormy. Peace to you, Hyphy, man. Thank you for listening, bro. And be careful out there. Them hoochie mamas that you be chasing, man. Be careful. And he says, Big Doe says, right, if they don't know how to do cursive, how will they be able to sign their names? There you go. Shaking my head. That's right, man. We talk about it. Miguel Angel Lopez says, gay agenda and nastiness. Drag shit too. Yep. Logic says, not to get political, but most of these teachings in school today are liberal teachings. Having trans go in and read elementary kids, get the fuck out. Yeah. Beverly Rose Boxing and Entertainment is laughing out loud. His sister's still in the background listening. Okay. Logic says, good chat. Brooklyn Child Boxing says, at Logic, that's terrible, bro. To hell with that. And Wookie Wook says, salute Miss Bev. And he's blowing her kisses and everything. Man, stop all that, man. Blowing kisses and stuff. She ain't thinking about you. Unless you got a bottle of wine over there. And let's see. Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owen says, right. Beverly Rose Boxing and Entertainment says, at Wookie Wook, good evening. And Broderick Hunter says, he was going to win regardless. He brought his dog with him tonight. That may be possible. The only thing we can say is he got the job done, as Joe Frazier used to say. I just wanted to get the job done. Rosario did it. And I told you, man, he broke out crying, man. So he knew he had a tough task ahead of him. It's like when you were, trying to pass your ACT test in high school and stuff like that, and you wanted to get into school of your choice. You know, it's like you was praying, like hoping, I hope I make it, and you was like, thank God, I'm going to school I want to go to. That's what it is. It was good to see that though. It was good to see that. Jay Cooley says, salute family. Salute to you, Jay Cooley. Big Doe says, facts at Logic. I hate that shit. Man, can't watch a show or a movie without it, even though I have nothing against that community. Yes, sir. Jay Cooley says, Floyd back at it soon when Connor won. Sad. Man, nobody care about Floyd. Man. Don't even mention his name. Wookie Wook says, salute family at Jay Cooley. And Andrew Charles is out there. Yeah, man, listen. One of the things, once you guys pay attention to the teaching that's going on with these fighters, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, man. The poor quality in coaching is out there. It is definitely out there, the poor quality in coaching. Logic says 2020 off to a great start. Wilder and Fury 2, Loma, T.O., and a possible Spence, Pacquiao, or Crawford. We'll see. We'll see. We gotta make sure that Tyson Fury show his ass up in that ring against Deontay Wilder, though. I still think that dude might try to pull a side door move. He very well may try that. So you guys keep your eyes on that damn Tyson Fury, huh? Because he may be trying to get up out of there. He may be trying. Yes, sir. Absolutely, bro. But this is one of those things that when you see the fights, you just can't go with what you like and who you like. You have to know the nuances of the sport and how things can change. A fighter who had a fight with his wife or his girlfriend or something can change a fucking fight, man. It could change, Do you guys know that Mike Tyson, when he won the heavyweight championship of the world from, what was his name? Trevor Berbick, back in 85, 86, the dude went into the fight, he had an STD, huh? So it's like, he wasn't well. He had to take medication and shit. It's like, but he fought, he won. But it's like, you just don't have no idea what could be going on behind the scenes. It's just crazy, man. The sport of boxing is something else. Sam D says, J-Rock was sharp versus Hurd. I knew in round 2 something was different in this fight. Is snack a good idea? Well, I'm not going to comment on snack and everything like that because these guys, they take stuff, supplements and everything nowadays to help them lose weight, get in training shape, increase their stamina and everything. I'm very old school. Guys can get up and do that road work 5 to 6 miles a day. You understand? Jump rope, chop wood, shadow box for the length of rounds that you fight. Work on your technique, different things like that. Eat right, do your calisthenics. Dude, that's more than enough. All that extra stuff and everything. Let me tell you something. Just go back and look at some older films of fighters from the very weight classes that you like to watch right now. If it's welterweight, let it be that. If it's middleweight, whatever. Go back just 20 years ago and look at fighters from the 80s in the ring and you look at the condition that they were in, look at their bodies, you'll see everything you need to know. They didn't have snack back then, huh? They didn't have all these protein powders and crap that people are taking today and all of this. And you look at those men, they were strong. They had endurance. They had speed. They made weight. They looked good. Okay? Why you need to do all this doctoring shit now? Don't try to reinvent the wheel if it wasn't ever broke to begin with. There you go. Curtis Anderson is out there. He says, I keep telling people, every fight is different. The energy and the intangibles. 100%, bro. We have to keep telling them until it sinks in, bro. Till it seeps into the brain. But it's gonna be kind of hard to seep into the brain when they out there smoking them funny cigarettes and everything. That stuff that stink. And when you walk past them, it smell like, you know, somebody brought one of them animals from outside inside or something, man. And they walk around like that, bro. And then they drinking that stuff, you know. Hard liquor and everything. It's hard to get anything inside the skull when you got so much clog in the skull, you know. Big Dose 513 says, I don't blame Fury for trying to hit the back door. He saw his eyes flash before his eyes. He saw his life flash before his eyes that first fight. Let me tell you something. Like Deontay said, man, Fury don't even know what happened in the first fight. He don't have no recall of that. And the funny thing about it is, he does have to listen to his family and everything that they're telling him. I wouldn't go back in there if I was you. So he may get right up to the week of the fight and pull out, or 2 weeks before the fight. I'm telling you, we have to hold that dude down, man. Make sure he get his ass in there. Big Dose says, man, how he win with his stuff burning. That's what I'm talking about, Big Dose. Dude. That's all I'm... Hey. Darnell Kirkland says, J-Rock started off sharp in this fight. He just got hit with something he didn't like and it affected him. Yeah, something that cut his eye, bro. Brooklyn Child Boxing says, at Big Dose, nothing will make me happier than seeing Wilder flatline this dude. Derek Bailey says, facts Stormy. Yep. And Logic says, what do you think of the gimmicks? Fight being talk about Pacquiao versus McGregor. I prefer Manny give the boxers who earned a shot to get a crack. That said, money talks. Listen, man, you don't never hear me talking about MMA on my channel, bro. As much as I like kung fu movies and I like, you know, fighting, period, you know, I don't give a damn about MMA. I don't talk about Conor McGregor or none of them other fools over there, a sport that they just trying to piggyback on boxing and play around with what happens with our personalities over here. Don't give a damn about them. Nothing harsh towards you. I'm just telling you, you ain't gonna never hear Stormybman talking about them people over there. Never, ever, 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 ever. Okay? Kenneth Johnson is smiling. He says, yeah, Tyson, he said he had the claps. Logic says that punch Wilder landed on Fury must have dislodged a cocaine pocket to revive like that. Maybe so, bro. Maybe so. Broderick Hunter says, I'm giving Rosario credit. He took J-Rock's best and still broke him down. You could tell it was a matter of time, I or not. Yeah, man. You know, it's over now. He won, you know. Sam D says, if Fury pulls out the fight, who would be his replacement? That's interesting. I don't know, but I hope that Wilder and his people are prepared for everything because I just don't trust Tyson Fury, man. He a dope fiend, bro. Dope fiends, you can't trust them. Huh? Dope fiends, man. You look up, they done took your shit and sold it and everything. What do you think Tyson Fury did with the first fight? They had a guaranteed contract. He took the contract, looked at it for a few days, and went over there and signed with Bob Arum, bro. That was a crackhead move. He had guaranteed money on the table. Oh, man. So, Big Doe says, facts at Brooklyn Child. Andrew Child says, I got no interest in it either. No disrespect for whoever does. Yeah, man. I'm sticking to boxing. Stormybman can talk boxing all night long. You guys, I've been in here 2 hours talking to you about these 3 matches and then some. And I ain't missed a beat. Why I want to talk about that stuff over there? It ain't going to serve me no purpose whatsoever, and they ain't going to put no money in my pocket, and they ain't going to do nothing for me. But over here, we can talk about this, and I know what I'm talking about, and it's solid. You know what I mean? So, Sam D says, I don't mind. I don't do MMA either, man. And Logic says, who do you think Spence fights in his comeback fight? I think it'll be a tune-up fight. Even though he's saying he don't want one, I think he'll take one. They'll convince him, because he needs to get readjusted to the sport. That man had a life-threatening circumstance take place. That's nothing to be taken lightly. So, if he did take a tune-up, if he did fight a soft touch, I would not blame him. I would not blame him. I would rather see him come back next year. But who am I to tell him what to do? But he should take that time, be with his family, them beautiful kids he got, and go out there, do some traveling, sail on the Riviera or whatever, and come back replenished, refreshed, and ready to kick some ass. That's what I suggest. That's what I suggest. You know why? Because he was almost not here no more, bro. Almost not here no more. And that is why you spend the time with your family. Because you do everything that you might not have been able to do because of what transpired. That allows you to refocus, to rededicate yourself, to understand what's important in your life, and that you take time out for those and who's important to you. If you don't do those things, then you're basically saying that isn't as important. There's nothing more precious in this world than life, because without it, it's darkness. You ain't got shit. Real talk. Logic says, I know you don't want to talk Mayweather. Here we go. But what he said, do you think he deserved Fighter of the Decade with his resume? Fighter of the Decade ain't based on your resume. I think it's based on a number of other things, along with your accomplishments, how you drove the sport, how you drove the fanfare and the matches, the quality of matches you may have had, things like that. I think it's a number of things that will come into play with that. And you have to be exciting. You have to have a pulse in the sport. Give the sport a pulse. And for someone like Mayweather, when certain fights could have been made, he opted to do something different. So fuck no. I'm glad he didn't get Fighter of the Decade. How about that? Yeah. So, fuck Mayweather. That's what we say on this channel. Fuck Mayweather. You know, I respect what he did accomplish, but I'm not gonna grovel and hold his nuts for him. You know, don't give a damn about that dude. So, there you go. And stop bringing him up, because you're gonna make me say something about him, and then you're gonna be mad at me. And we say we don't want to talk about the guy, keep bringing his damn name up. It's like, that's stupid stuff. You know what that's like? Self-inflicted pain. I know you don't want to talk about Mayweather, but get the hell out of here with that, man. Because it's like, you know what? We don't want to talk about the dude. You keep bringing his name in the shit. You know, he dead. He gone, you know, from the sport. It's like he's done. Talk about these brothers here that's fighting tonight. It was a great fight. J-Rock was a good fighter, and he lost his championship. Unified championship. This kid, Jason Rosario, that's a damn Cinderella story. Huh? Good fighters. Let's talk about them. They deserve to be talked about and celebrated. Huh? And they deserve some money. If you keep talking about that dude, he in the way of their progress. Fuck him. Man. Fuck, man. I ain't trying to be mean. I'm just saying. I'm telling you the truth. They're like, fuck that dude. Don't nobody want to talk about him, man. Anyway, this has been a great boxing conversation post-fight with Stormybman. We talked about the great matches of this evening. Well, one great match of this evening where we saw the Unified Championship change hands from, Julian J. Rock Williams and Jason Rosario, man. It's like, what an incredible fight. If you didn't catch the fight tonight, catch the replay and look at what's happening in boxing, because there are going to be some rumblings in the division. There are going to be fights get made that we didn't know, and it's going to be exciting. And as I stated earlier in this broadcast, it's only January, ladies and gentlemen. It's only January, and we're about to really get cooking out here. If this is the lead off, I can't wait to see what's next. So, Logic says, wait a minute. Logic says, agree 100% about Spence. If he does fight Pac, this is how you think that fight goes? Who's to say? Pac would be trouble for Spence anyway because of the style he has. Based on that alone, it'll be difficult for him. He says, Sam D says, can we get some sparring footage of Jamel punching Earl in his mouth a few times just so we can see how well his jaw holds up? Just joking. And Logic says, that said, then who do you think should be the fighter of the decade in your opinion? I can't go against the guy they selected, Andre Ward. Went through that tournament and everything. He whooping everybody's ass in the division. He moved up, and he smoked the guy who was the villain of the division and the boogeyman. So he did everything, and he dusted his hands off. And he rode off into the sunset, undefeated. Hey, that's good stuff. Broderick Hunter says, Spence recently posted he lives for his babies and his parents. Sounds like he gets it to me. He should get it. Shit, he's been granted a blessed opportunity to still be here with them. Big Doe says, laugh out loud, Stormy. Fuck Mayweather. I'm with you on that one, bro. Yeah. Logic says, sorry about that. I'm just asking about the fighter of the decade as it relates to boxing. We're watching you, Logic. Logic says, true, a good upset tonight. He trying to double back. Hustler Slim says, Stormybman, I don't mean to talk about Floyd, but fuck Floyd. Salute to everyone in the chat. There you go, Hustler Slim. 100, man, on that one. And Logic says, new to the chat, respect your opinion. Looking forward to the next one. Hey, it's all good, man. I try to say things with humor and everything too. I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. If you stick around the channel, you'll learn that Stormy like to talk shit too and ham it up. So that's all. That's all it is, But hey, brothers and sisters, I've been on there like 2 hours now. I'm coming to the end of this. We're going to cut it short now and let you all enjoy the rest of your night and the rest of your weekend. I want to say shout out to the LDBC. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a post-fight with Stormybman featuring J-Rock versus Rosario and more. So don't forget, later in the week, I got the Friday night chop session with Stormybman coming up. And we'll be talking about some fights that's on next weekend's agenda. And we have something very special coming very soon for you brothers and sisters out there. I'm going to put a reminder out, so keep an eye on my channel. Stormybman getting ready to drop something on you guys. And for you all been watching me this past year, you've seen what I've been doing here on the channel. We got something real special for you that we're going to bring. And it's exciting. It's a very exciting time. So with that being said, I want to say good night to you all and peace to you. You know, because this is one of those things that I'm excited too. I can't wait to put that reminder out there so you'll see it. And when those of you who have been watching my channel, you're going to look up and say, holy smokes, Stormy doing it again. Yeah, that's what's happening. We're going to do something real good for you brothers and sisters. So keep around and keep your head in on the channel. You never know. So with that being said, I want to say good night to you all. Got people out there laughing, saying good night, going up the peace sign. That's right. So we're going to get on out of here. Say peace to you brothers and sisters, okay? Thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate you.
Thank you.